God says, someone will give you a new house. But watch this, before July 2, there comes a moment in every believer's life when the heavens seem to whisper a secret too bold for the logical mind to grasp. This is that moment. God is not teasing your faith. He is announcing your harvest. Before July 2, a divine shift will occur, and someone, led by an unseen hand, will be stirred to give you what you did not earn, what you did not build, but what you already claimed in the realm of spirit, a house. Not a metaphor, not a dream deferred, but a physical dwelling aligned with your inner vision. The walls are already built, the roof already covered, the keys already in circulation. But you must be spiritually awake to receive it. This is not about luck, and this is not about worthiness. It's about alignment. What you accept in your imagination, you attract in your reality. What you dwell on in secret, you will walk in openly. You are not waiting on God. God is waiting on you to believe. So hear this not as fantasy, but prophecy. Someone will give you a new house. But watch this, and prepare your spirit before July 2. The house already exists. Enter it by faith first. There is a higher truth that defies human logic, but bends reality itself to the one who understands it. Whatever you deeply accept as true in the unseen world must eventually manifest in the seen. The new house God has promised you does not need to be built. It already exists. It is standing, waiting, fully prepared, but it is cloaked in the spiritual realm until your consciousness aligns with its reality. You are not creating the house, you are unveiling it. You are not waiting on construction. You are aligning with what is already finished. This is the divine principle. All things are completed in the mind of God, and your role is to walk by faith, not by sight. You cannot receive what you have not first entered in spirit. You must learn the discipline of inner occupancy. Live in that house now, not someday, but this day, in your mind, your emotions, your imagination. Walk through the front door with gratitude, smell the fresh paint or your favorite candles, sit on the couch in peace, decorate the rooms in your thoughts, feel the floor beneath your feet as if you already dwell there. Speak aloud from the new living room. Say, "Thank you, Father, that I live here," because what you experience in consciousness with full emotional conviction is what will take form in your outer life. Your senses may tell you that nothing has changed, that you are still in the same space, the same apartment, the same struggle, but the senses lie. They are the last to know what spirit has already established. What God is showing you now is not a tease, it is a calling to participate in your own manifestation. If you delay your belief until you see physical proof, you will forever be chasing shadows. But the moment you believe you have already received, something supernatural begins to move on your behalf. Heaven starts orchestrating the details. Paperwork begins to shift. People begin to feel an urge they don't understand to call you, to invite you, to offer you something they themselves can't explain. That is how divine transfers work. Someone is being moved right now to bless you, but the transaction in the spirit is activated by your faith, not their generosity. You do not need to manipulate, beg, or campaign. You need to agree with what God already said. I have given you houses you did not build. That is not future tense, that is divine present tense. The giving is finished. Your job is to receive, and receiving in spiritual law means embodying the state of already having it. This is why so many miss their blessings. They are waiting for signs, but God is waiting for alignment. Until your thoughts, feelings, and inner assumptions agree with the gift, it remains invisible. The moment you embody it, the moment you enter it in consciousness, doors begin to open in the physical realm. But this isn't just about manifesting a structure, it's about realizing your oneness with the source of all. You and God are not separate. The house is not far. The promise is not delayed. It is you who must come into agreement with the reality already established. Your assumption is the key. What are you assuming? That you are still unworthy, that you don't have the finances, that someone else is more deserving? Or are you assuming that God's word is true and that the house is yours now? July 2 is not an arbitrary date. It is a spiritual deadline, a moment of culmination, a season where decisions must be made not by force but by faith. If you enter the vibration of doubt, you lock yourself out. If you enter the vibration of certainty, you unlock what has always been yours. This is not positive thinking, it is divine law. Feel it real. Live there in your soul before you live there in your body. That house responds to you not because of your effort, but because of your frequency. The language of spirit is emotion, belief, imagination. When you see the house in your mind and give thanks with full sincerity, the invisible bridge forms between now and the moment it shows up in your life. That bridge will carry you through unexpected connections, favor, paperwork shifts, unexpected openings, but the bridge itself is made of faith. If you break faith, you fall. If you remain in the knowing, the house walks right into your life through people, moments, and events you never could have planned. There are no accidents in God's design. Your house is already aligned with your energy, your purpose, your assignment. It is not just a place to live, it is a realm of expansion, rest, and preparation for what's next. That's why you can't afford to delay your belief. You must claim it now. You must speak it out loud. I live in my new house. Thank you, God, that it is done. Watch your emotions. If doubt rises, re-enter the house in your spirit. If fear whispers, walk through the door again in your imagination. Make that inner journey daily, because the person who mentally dwells in their desired state long enough will surely dwell in it physically. This is spiritual law. You are not poor. You are not homeless in spirit. You are not forsaken. You are one with God, and God has never been homeless. So neither are you. This is your hour to believe with intensity, to feel with clarity, to walk by inner knowing. July 2 marks a portal. If you walk through it in faith, you will meet the divine appointment that was waiting on your agreement. Don't focus on the how. That is not your job. Focus on the now. That's where your power lies. You are not manifesting a house. You are revealing one that was already yours before you ever asked. The house exists. The gift is prepared. Someone will hand you the key, but first you must walk through the door in spirit. And once you do, nothing can stop it from finding you. Someone is being moved by God to bless you, but you must be spiritually ready. There is a person living and breathing at this very moment who is already thinking about you without knowing why. Their heart is being stirred, their spirit is being nudged, and their mind is being guided to fulfill a divine instruction that involves you. But make no mistake, this person is not responding to you, they are responding to God. What's about to happen in your life is not a matter of human kindness or coincidence. It is the result of supernatural orchestration. The house God promised you will not come by labor, nor by the normal channels of acquisition, but through divine favor released through a vessel who has been appointed to give. Someone is being directed to release to you what you did not earn, but were predestined to receive. This person may be a stranger, a friend, a long-lost connection, or even someone who once overlooked you. Their identity is secondary to their purpose, which is to obey a higher instruction on your behalf. But here is the mystery. You must be in spiritual position to receive it. Spiritual readiness is not about performance or perfection. It is about alignment. You cannot receive what your spirit refuses to recognize. If you are still caught up in fear, doubt, or disbelief, you will disqualify yourself from seeing what is already yours. Just as a radio must be tuned to the right frequency to receive the broadcast, you must be tuned into the frequency of belief, expectation, and surrender to receive the gift. The house is not coming through a lottery system. It is coming through a spiritual system, one where obedience, timing, and faith intersect. And if you are distracted by external conditions, if you are too preoccupied by how it could happen, or who would ever do such a thing, you will miss the move of God that is already moving toward you. This is why you must remain sensitive in spirit and still in your soul. Someone is being awakened to their assignment, but your part is to expect them. Your expectation is what draws them to you. It is not arrogance to expect miracles. It is obedience. God has already whispered your name into the spirit of the giver. That whisper is growing louder. They may be wrestling with the instruction. They may be trying to rationalize it, but God will not let them rest until they respond. However, what happens next is not solely dependent on them. It also depends on you. You must believe that the gift is possible. You must believe that you are not forgotten. You must believe that God can use anyone at any time to release what is rightfully yours. And you must cleanse your heart of bitterness, because sometimes the very person assigned to bless you is someone you once judged, dismissed, or resented. Be open, stay soft, remain expectant. Divine blessings often come dressed in human clothes. The person who gives you the key may not look like a miracle, but they are. That's why you must keep your spirit alert. Stop rehearsing your lack. Stop feeding your mind with evidence of limitation. Instead, rehearse the reality that God is not a man that he should lie, and if he said someone will give you a house, then someone must, and will. They are being prompted even now. Perhaps they are driving by a property, feeling an inexplicable urge to gift it. Perhaps they are reviewing their will, thinking about whom to bless. Perhaps they are sitting in their home, sensing that it's time to move and let someone else take over. Their motive is not their own. It is spiritual, it is divine, it is God, and when the moment comes, you must be ready to say yes. This is not a time for false humility or disbelief. Say yes when the door opens. Say yes when the conversation begins. Say yes even when it feels too good to be true, because spiritual gifts don't operate by logic. They operate by law, and the law is simple. The one who walks in faith will attract what others only dream about. Remember, when the Israelites were delivered from Egypt, God didn't just free them. He caused the Egyptians to give them gold and silver as they left. That was not charity. That was divine transfer. And what is coming to you is no different. A divine transfer is being initiated on your behalf. You have planted in faith, cried in secret, believed in silence, and now the heavens have responded. Someone is being commissioned as the delivery agent of your reward. But heaven operates in timing. That's why this message has urgency. Before July 2, the window is open, the blessing is in motion, but your readiness will determine if you catch the wind or miss it. So prepare your heart. Set your mind. Speak words of agreement. Live as though the house is already yours. Bless the person you haven't met yet. Pray for their clarity. Cover them in your spirit, because when they obey, it will unlock something major for both of you. This is not just your breakthrough. It is theirs too. They are sowing into your life, but you are unlocking their next season of favor. That's the beauty of divine exchange. Both the giver and the receiver are blessed, and the name of God is glorified through it all. So lift your eyes. The blessing is coming. The hand of the giver is reaching. Your name has already been spoken in places you haven't entered yet. But don't wait until July 2 to believe. Believe now. Align now, be ready now, because when the person comes, they will come quickly. The transaction will happen swiftly, and if your spirit is not prepared, the moment could pass. But if your soul is awake, you will know this is it. This is the answer. This is the key, and you will walk through that door into the house that was always waiting for you. Someone is being moved by God to bless you. Make sure you're ready to receive. July 2 is a divine deadline. Prepare your spirit for transfer in the realm of the spirit. Dates and times are not mere coincidences, but divine markers, portals of fulfillment, moments when invisible promises are scheduled to touch visible reality. July 2 is not just a date on a calendar, it is a deadline in the spirit. It is the threshold where faith either unlocks what has been long prepared, or hesitation delays what could have been delivered. You must understand not all days are the same in the eyes of heaven. There are kairos moments, divine timings, where heaven aligns with earth and things move swiftly, suddenly, and with power. July 2 represents such a moment for you. It is the date God has circled in the spirit realm to release something into your hands that has been hovering over your life. The new house is not a fantasy. It is not a projection of your wishful thinking. It is a spiritual reality scheduled for manifestation. But to walk into this prepared blessing, your spirit must be positioned correctly. Just as a farmer prepares the field before the rain, you must prepare your inner ground to receive this outpouring. Do not treat this word casually. This is a call to spiritual readiness, to heightened awareness, to divine sensitivity. If you keep walking in distraction, double-mindedness, or delay, you will find yourself watching the opportunity pass, even as it knocks on your door. The blessing is ready. The question is, are you? Are you emotionally and spiritually in agreement with what you say you want? Because God does not release miracles to those who merely wish. He releases them to those who expect, prepare, and declare. Between now and July 2, you are standing in a womb of manifestation. This is not just about praying harder, this is about living as if the promise is now. Let every word, every thought, every movement of your day be shaped by the inner knowing that the transfer is scheduled. Wake up thanking God for the house. Go to sleep blessing the name of the person God is stirring to deliver it. Visualize the moving truck. Picture your name on the mailbox. Bless every corner of the house with your thoughts. This is the kind of spiritual preparation that turns invisible intentions into physical outcomes. July 2 is not meant to scare you, it is meant to awaken you. It is heaven's way of saying, get ready, it's coming, but with that warning comes responsibility. This is the time to silence every voice of doubt. This is the time to stop entertaining conflicting images. You cannot visualize ownership in the morning and dwell on loss at night. You must become single-eyed, laser-focused, locked in on the promise. For what you consistently see within, you inevitably see without. That is spiritual law. That is why the deadline exists, not to limit you, but to sharpen you. Just as a pregnant woman prepares for labor as the due date draws near, you must also begin to prepare not only mentally but practically. Clean up emotional clutter, remove bitterness, forgive the past, open your hands spiritually and physically. Make room in your heart, in your mind, even in your schedule for the blessing to arrive. God is not releasing random gifts. He is releasing precise answers to prayers you forgot you prayed. But he will not place what is sacred into hands that are full of fear, indecision, or unworthiness. July 2 is about alignment, it's about acceleration, but most of all, it's about obedience. Between now and then, God may ask you to do unusual things. He may nudge you to sow a seed, to speak a word, to visit a place, or to prepare documents. These instructions may not make logical sense, but they are spiritual keys. Follow them, honor them, trust them, because obedience is the door to divine manifestation. Many people delay their breakthrough because they hesitate when God prompts them. Don't let that be you. July 2 could be the day the phone rings. It could be the day the contract is signed. It could be the day the door opens and you are invited into the very place you used to dream about. But if you are not prepared, you will not be able to perceive it. Perception is everything, and spiritual preparation sharpens perception. You begin to notice the signs. You recognize the right conversation. You discern the divine appointment. Nothing catches you off guard when your spirit is tuned in. The house is not coming, the house is here. The manifestation is not waiting, it is arriving. And like a delivery scheduled to show up at a certain hour, it won't wait forever. You must be home, spiritually home, when the doorbell rings. So what does that look like? It means living in faith, refusing fear, staying in gratitude, walking in obedience, and practicing inner alignment. It means you talk like someone who owns a house, even if you are still in transition. It means you carry yourself with the dignity of someone who has already received. That is the secret. That is the power. And that is how you meet July 2 with open arms, not with regret. This is not just a deadline. It is a lifeline, the date when heaven says, I'm releasing it now. And your spirit must answer, I am ready. If you treat July 2 like any other day, you will walk past the miracle unaware. But if you treat it as sacred, if you mark it in your spirit, if you walk toward it with faith and fire, you will step into a moment that shifts everything. This is your window. This is your warning. This is your word. Prepare yourself. God has appointed someone to release something major into your life. The house already exists. The person is already being stirred. But the transfer requires a meeting point, and that point is July 2. Be there in spirit. Be there in faith. Be there in expectancy. And when the moment arrives, you'll know it wasn't luck. It was alignment. It was obedience. It was God. The power of inner ownership, why you must claim the house before you see it. Everything you desire to receive in the physical world must first be possessed in the invisible realm of spirit. And this truth becomes most evident when it comes to divine blessings like the home God is about to place in your life. The transfer that's coming is not initiated by paper or contract. It is initiated by inner ownership. Before someone gives you a house, before the keys are handed to you, before the address changes and the rooms are filled with furniture, something must shift inside of you. You must take full spiritual possession of what you do not yet see with your eyes. Ownership begins with belief, but it is sustained by imagination, by feeling, by a bold and consistent assumption that it is already yours. This is why God deals with the heart before he deals with the hands. Many cry out for houses and promotions and divine transfers, but within their soul they are still renters of life, uncertain, hesitant, bound by fear. God is not just giving you a house. He is calling you to become a person who lives in ownership, who occupies space with certainty, confidence, and peace, because what you own in your mind no one can take from you. That's the secret. The enemy cannot steal what has already been fully possessed in the realm of spirit. When you claim that house internally, walk through it mentally, rejoice in it emotionally, and give thanks for it consistently, you are building a vibration that makes you a magnet for manifestation. Your entire being begins to align with that reality. Your decisions start to match that outcome. Your energy shifts. Your words carry the authority of someone who already has the deed. This is not fake it until you make it. This is faith it until you see it. This is spiritual law, and it is precise. You must feel now what you expect to live later. That house is waiting for the version of you who no longer doubts, who no longer needs confirmation, who no longer begs God for what he already said is yours. So many delay the promise by walking in a spirit of lack while praying for abundance. But when God prepares a blessing like this, a literal house, a divine relocation, a supernatural elevation, he looks to see if your soul is already living in what he is about to release. Ask yourself, do I think, speak, and act like someone who has received, or do I still carry the energy of someone who is hoping, wishing, and doubting? Because the answer to that question will tell you if you're truly ready for the blessing. Ownership is not an event, it is a state of being. It is the quiet knowing that what God has for you is not being debated in heaven. It has already been decreed. The only thing left is your full participation. And your participation begins when you stop asking for what's yours and start thanking God for it in advance. You thank him before you see it. You walk through your current space like someone preparing to move. You bless the house you're in and release it with joy because you know something greater is coming. You let go of the tension, the need to control, the need to figure it all out. You simply own it. That's the power that breaks delay. That's the spiritual authority that opens the hands of those assigned to bless you. You don't need to beg anyone to give you a house when your inner world already testifies that the house belongs to you. The giver, whoever they are, is responding to a spiritual signal you have sent by faith. Your inner certainty creates outer events, so don't underestimate the power of what you're doing in secret. Your visualization is not wasted time. Your declarations are not empty. Your feelings of peace, joy, and gratitude are not emotional indulgence. They are magnetic forces pulling what was once out of reach directly into your hands. You must own the blessing inwardly with such fullness that when it arrives, it simply feels like a natural extension of what you already lived in your spirit. This is how the chosen ones walk into new seasons with peace. They already lived it within before it showed up outside. The house is yours because your spirit has taken the keys before your hand ever did. This is the spiritual technology of divine manifestation. You claim it, feel it, bless it, live it now. And as you continue doing that, doors will open in the most unusual ways. Conversations will happen. People will feel moved to give. Paperwork will clear. Opportunities will appear, and you will walk into that house not as a desperate seeker, but as a rightful owner. This is how God works. He never gives you something you haven't first received by faith. That's why your inner world is more important than your outer circumstances. Even if you're sleeping on the floor, even if your surroundings contradict your desires, don't let it shake you. The spiritual world responds to your inner state, not your current condition. You are being invited now, before July 2, to make a decision in the unseen that will unlock the seen. Claim the house, own it. Bless it, walk in it. Let nothing talk you out of it. People may call you delusional. Circumstances may rise up to challenge you. But keep choosing ownership in your imagination. Keep assuming that the transfer is already done. And as you do, the Spirit of God will go before you, preparing the heart of the one who will deliver the blessing. Your alignment is the signal, your ownership is the agreement, and your belief is the signature on the spiritual deed. So rise up and take what is yours, not with pride but with praise, not with force but with faith, not with fear but with fierce gratitude. The house is yours, the blessing is complete. All that remains is your decision to receive what God already gave. Own it now, and watch the key find you. Don't miss the door how to recognize divine delivery when it comes in the spiritual realm. Blessings don't always arrive in ways that make sense to the natural mind. They come clothed in disguise, wrapped in the ordinary, and delivered through unexpected people and moments. And if you are not spiritually awake, aligned, and prepared, you can miss the very door you've been praying for. The house that is about to enter your life will not arrive with fireworks, announcements, or flashing lights. It may come through a casual conversation, a passing remark, a sudden invitation, a moment of obedience, or even through someone you overlooked. This is why God is calling you to watch, not just with your eyes, but with your spirit. To watch is not to wait in anxiety, but to remain spiritually sensitive, emotionally grounded, and internally convinced that your blessing is on its way. You must sharpen your discernment in this season, because the opportunity will not look the way you expected. It may not come through a wealthy benefactor. It might not involve the traditional process of mortgage approvals, real estate agents, or credit scores. God is not bound by systems. When he moves, he bypasses rules, breaks protocols, and flips logic upside down to show you that favor outranks formulas. But favor can only find the faithful, those whose hearts are tuned to heaven's frequency. If you're too distracted by noise, negativity, or doubt, the divine delivery may knock and you won't even hear it. You might brush off an email, you might ignore a message, you might decline a meeting or overlook a prompting, and that could have been the very access point to your miracle. This is why God says, "Be still and know." Know that the answer is not on the way. It's here. Know that the divine instruction won't always be grand. It will often be subtle. The house is already circling your atmosphere, but it is looking for an open door to land through. And that door is your awareness. Are you watching with your spiritual eyes? Can you feel the shift in the air, the unusual moments of alignment, the conversations that come out of nowhere, the dreams that seem too vivid to ignore? These are not random. They are spiritual signals, but many will miss them because they are too attached to how they think it should happen. They've imagined a very specific path, and anything outside of that path feels foreign. But God often works through what feels foreign to birth what is familiar to your soul. The house may come through someone you once helped, someone who owed you nothing but now feels moved to return a blessing. It may come through an inheritance, a donation, a divine idea, or even a prophetic word that leads to an open door. This is not the time to judge the package. This is the time to discern the gift. Remember, when Jesus was born, many missed him because they were expecting royalty in robes, not a baby in a manger. And in the same way, many missed their miracles because they looked too normal, too quiet, too uncomfortable. But the chosen ones don't miss divine moments because they've trained their spirits to recognize heaven's frequency even when it sounds like a whisper. You must do the same. You must begin to move through each day asking the Holy Spirit to increase your awareness, to show you what's hidden in plain sight, to help you notice the moments pregnant with purpose. Don't live on autopilot in this season. Be intentional. When someone speaks, listen deeper. When something stirs your heart, don't brush it off. When a door opens, test it in prayer. There is no such thing as coincidence when you walk in alignment. God is too strategic, too precise, too deliberate. The way the house will come to you is already planned. What's left is your ability to recognize it when it comes. Sometimes the blessing shows up looking like inconvenience. It may require a sudden move, a step of obedience, or a letting go of where you're currently living. That is the test. Will you follow peace even when the process is unfamiliar? Will you walk through the door even when it's not what you imagined? The timing is urgent. July 2 is your spiritual deadline. That's why the days leading up to it are full of divine clues. You'll know something is shifting. Conversations will feel different. you'll wake up with unusual clarity. Your emotions will start aligning with peace instead of pressure. All of this is heaven's way of preparing your perception, and once your perception is ready, you won't need convincing, you'll just know. That knowing is your confirmation, but if you're still second, guessing, doubting, or waiting for external signs, you'll remain blind to what's already before you. You cannot be so logical that you miss the supernatural. You cannot be so rooted in routine that you miss the rhythm of the Spirit. God is not hiding the blessing from you. He's hiding it for you in a place where only those with faith can find it. That's why many will hear about this promise and ignore it. But the remnant, the sensitive, the surrendered, the seekers, will watch and receive. You are one of them. You wouldn't be reading this if God hadn't already appointed you to receive, but you must be on high alert. Stay in worship, stay in peace, stay out of offense, stay grateful. Gratitude sharpens perception, faith opens the heart, and spiritual sensitivity unlocks the divine appointment. Someone is already being stirred to release the house. The process is underway, the delivery is approaching, but if you are spiritually asleep, you will treat the miracle like a misprint. You'll assume it's too good to be true, but let me remind you, God never lies. He didn't bring you this far to tease you. He's not playing games with your spirit. He's positioning you, so don't miss the door, don't ignore the knock, don't be too caught up in daily life that you miss divine life. The house will come, but it will come through a moment, a person, a shift that doesn't scream miracle, until you look back and say, that was it. So keep your eyes open, your spirit ready, and your heart clean. The door is about to open, recognize it, and walk through.